The revolution about to be televised. You picked the right time, but the wrong guy. Someone better squabble.
Hotep fam and namaste. Minister Imhotep here, the one who comes in peace. I'm with Minister Server and Minister Jehudi. We are collectively the Trinity of Truth. Coming back once again, y'all, to talk about something that's been dominating the news platform, social media, and so forth. And that is the Kendrick Lamar halftime performance during Super Bowl 59. So it surprised a lot of people. It's controversial, and we want to just chop it up a little bit and see how it may have landed with each one of us here, because we're not monoliths, so we all have different opinions, and we just want to see how it lands. You gents want to say anything before we jump into this?
Serve?
No, I'm ready to jump in.
All right.
Well, I just will say this, and I was telling Imhotep prior to logging in that I am not very familiar with K-Dot, Kendrick Lamar. Didn't know a whole lot about the beef between him and Drake, but I appreciated the performance.
Yeah.
Not having a lot of knowledge, I didn't know much, but the performance was what I appreciated and the message. But we'll talk about that. So this is coming from someone that doesn't have any skin in the game. My thing of hip hop is not as much today as it was yesterday, but I appreciated his performance, his delivery, the Samuel Jackson, and we can chop that up.
All righty.
Same.
So Kendrick used the Super Bowl stage. Now, that's a huge mainstream platform. We're not just talking about some little underground thing. It's not even just a video or anything else. This is, what is it, like 150 something million? I think this was surpassed even the Michael Jackson.
Yes.
Yes, the biggest audience so far is 135 million plus, and I think Mike was 133.
Yeah, so it was a lot. To highlight the social and political issues that are important to the Black community, important to us all,
yes,
but especially relevant to the Black community. My first question was this appropriate or not? And if so, why or why not? In terms of, a lot of folks were tuning in. I want to see a performance. So what do you think?
sir?
Me? Okay.
Anybody, just jump ball.
Well, for me, I thought it was wholly appropriate for a number of different reasons. If you are familiar, I'm a bit familiar with the situation with Drake and Kendrick. And, Kendrick has been a cultural warrior for forever. You know what I'm saying? I'm not surprised if you saw any of his performances, like even when he performed with Jay-Z and a few years back.
Right.
He did some songs there that could have been considered controversial. So
Right.
I was happy to see it is Black History Month. As I tell people, for me, I think, for those of us that are Black folks 365, we should go extra hard in February, because that's when people, whether they like it or not, they got to accept it, because this is Black History Month. So I thought it was wholly appropriate. Dope performance, a lot of, as they say, Easter eggs inside of it. But I thought it was dope.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dope.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned it being Black History Month, but it's been pretty quiet this Black History Month. Do you think that's because of who's in office?
Quiet as far as what?
In terms of, usually there's a lot of corporate hoopla, Black History Month and celebrations we acknowledge, we're proud to. I haven't seen quite as many. Maybe I just haven't noticed them, but it seems to me that it's been toned down a little bit.
Well, I'm really not on mainstream like that, but I know, like, if you look on the streaming services and stuff like that, they doing their Black stories and all that type of stuff. So I don't think that's any different. Like I said, I only watch commercial TV, so I don't really know whether the commercials are doing that. But with these companies, voluntarily stepping back with their so-called DEI,
Right.
initiatives. I'm not surprised at that, and that most certainly has to do with the climate that the Trump administration is setting for sure.
Exactly. It's moonwalking. Like, that I do a lot of those commercials, those ads. And so far, the only company I've done one for this year is Xfinity.
Wow.
So it's interesting to see how far they are moonwalking.
So last year, like how many commercials did you do last year for different companies? Well, how many companies?
I'm
You
trying
said
to
only
think.
Xfinity this year.
Yeah, there was I know Toyota had did some things, and so there was at least a couple. I know McDonald's did some stuff, Xfinity did some things, but it just seemed a little bit more quiet. Maybe I'm like you, I've not been on mainstream media as much as well, so
Mm-hmm.
who knows. But anyway, the reactions to the halftime show were almost as divided along racial lines as the OJ verdict. Why do you think so many white folks had strong negative reactions to it?
Well,
So who you got
I'll
next to
jump
jump
in.
in?
I'll jump in and say this. I think not understanding hip hop. I heard a lot of people say, if I understood what he was saying, maybe I could have enjoyed it. That's a cop out, in my opinion. If you wanted to understand, you could understand it. What did he say? Right, right time. No, wrong person, right time, or something. Yo, he was dropping bombs throughout, and it made them feel uncomfortable. But anytime that we speak out, anytime we do anything, it's going to make them speak out if we're not towing the line that they want us to tow. So I just think it is what it is.
Yeah, I think in that same sense that it was extremely hip hop because hip hop is supposed to make people uncomfortable. Hip hop is a rebellious music. They knew exactly what they were getting. Jay-Z played a big part in it, but the NFL knew exactly what it was going to be. I mean, even down to him doing the not like us song.
Mhm.
So but to me, it's like the one thing I think that a lot of white folks really get upset about is black joy and
Uh-huh.
black love and black celebration. Like they don't mind us acting negative to each other and doing that. But when there's black love and black joy, that seems to make their skin crawl. So to me, and even some black folks, were talking about, it wasn't as entertaining,
Right.
as they may have wanted to be. But as I tell people, if you know Kendrick, he's one of the few artists that still does edutainment. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
And I appreciated that. But for the white folks that were upset, it's the usual suspects. You know what I'm saying? Anytime we, like I said, black joy, that's their
Is
that's
it
their
a certain
kryptonite.
type of black joy though? Because if it was Wheezy that was on stage and
Right, right, right.
bouncing
Good,
and clowning and happy and jovial.
excellent point. Excellent point. Excellent point. And I think, again, the thing that makes them uncomfortable is when it's overtly black and political, which Kendrick's performance was overtly black and
That's what I
political.
think.
So yeah, I think I
That-
think that yeah,
because yeah, they fine to see us all happy and
true,
right.
true. Dancing around and shuffling, yeah, that's true.
That's entertainment.
Right. And,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
once again, he was making statements. You
Right.
know, Samuel Jackson, Uncle Sam. Come on,
Right.
man.
Right from the get go.
And then he was saying, behave and,
Hmm.
be likable or whatever. I don't know
Right,
what
right,
the
right.
lines were, but he was saying, no, I'm not going to be that.
Right.
I'm going to be your worst nightmare, white America. And I shouldn't say white America. Let me take that back. America, the
Right.
politicized America, because
There
there
you
are
go.
white people that, love hip hop, love
I got it. Yes,
other
sir.
people, love culture, love to see
Mhm.
expression. So I don't want to say white America. It wasn't a white
Yeah.
America, but it was a politicized MAGA America or a
Right. I would say
politicized
MAGA,
America.
definitely MAGA. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to make sure, and I apologize for using that term because it wasn't black or white. It was more about speaking freely and someone really trying to suppress free speech
Yeah.
Mhm.
from a cultural standpoint, especially from an oppressed standpoint, people that have dealt with oppression and they don't want to see it lifted. To be exact, they want to rescind it and take it back to the 50s and 60s. That's where that MAGA culture would like to see us.
Isn't it interesting that the ones who always are talking about free speech, but as soon as you exercise it, they're trying to
They want to
cancel.
silence you.
Mm-hmm.
But
Oh,
when you're not speaking what they want you to speak, and
Exactly.
that's what that Uncle Sam character was talking about. You know, yeah, as long as you are towing the line, as long as you are saying what we can accept, we are okay with you saying it. But as soon as you step out, as soon as you say something that will, cause people to think, provoke thought, something that we talk about it in spirit. As soon as you start provoking thought, oh no. But has anything changed? When Jesus was trying to provoke thought, what did they do to him?
Exactly.
take him out.
Same thing I always talk about. Same thing with
Dr.
Dr. King.
King.
Dr. King,
Yeah.
what I always talk about.
Anyone, Malcolm X. I mean, you could go throughout, through time.
Yeah.
Whenever someone that is not of the a mainstream culture starts saying things to challenge the mainstream thought, yo, you need to be silenced. And even if they don't silence you, what they will,
Uh-oh, they just, Jehudi, you just got
they
silenced.
silencing me.
What we say?
They silencing me. What were they trying to do
Proven.
here?
You
But
proved your point.
I cannot be silenced. I cannot.
Illuminati.
Illuminati, right?
Right. So yeah, I think you proved your point with that one. So Kendrick incorporated a lot of visual elements into his performance, as you described them as Easter eggs, like the people in flag colors, the Game Boy whole interface there. The whole thing looked like it could have been out on the sidewalk or a prison yard or something. What other symbolic elements did you notice, and what were some of your interpretations of some of these elements?
But one thing that was dope, how the whole stage was set up like a PlayStation controller.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And then you talk about the 9 squares and things of that nature. So again, as I tell people, anybody that knows Kendrick, Kendrick is very intricate in his presentation. If you've ever seen Kendrick's live show, and Jehudi, I definitely recommend you can go on YouTube and see some of his shows, actual shows, and he's very, he takes his performances very seriously.
You can tell
I
that.
call it performance art, actually.
Yeah, definitely. That's exactly what it is. And, that's the thing that's always made him stand aside. You remember a few years back, I think it was like 2016, 2017, when he was on the Grammys, and he came out doing King Kunta, which is one of his most, blackity black songs and whatnot.
Right.
And they came out, they had the people like in chains and the whole nine,
Right.
With fire on the stage and the whole nine. So again, I can understand the people that may not be familiar with Kendrick, but if you're familiar with Kendrick, then it's not surprising. I love how it was overtly blackity black. Remember the scene where he was standing like by the night post, and brothers was around him, and then when Uncle Sam came back out, he was like, "Oh, so you use the cheat code with the gang member, deduct one life." Deduct one life. So there was a number of different statements that was being made there. So again, I like that Kendrick has taken the whole West Coast on his back. And if we know anything about the West Coast, with the Black Panther Party starting out there in Oakland, you know what I'm saying, and we know the things that was happening out there. I think the way that he did it with the Uncle Sam starting off, the statements that Samuel was making, in the midst of it. They said the car itself, the car. If you notice the car, the GNX, and there were a number of people coming out of the car because they said they gutted the actual car so they could fit more people in there. So there was a number of different things, but I love how he had the red, white, and blue. The flag. And then standing in the middle. Of course, symbolizing that the divide is happening in America.
Right. Separation
right now.
and everything. Right.
Right. But also symbolizing that he could be the unifier.
To unify, to bring it back together.
Yeah, to bring it all together. So
high infinite power healing our people.
Yes, exactly. Healing our people, exactly. And that's the thing that I think, with us particularly, as we are approaching, the culture in this way, just bringing different subtleties to it. Different, I could talk about even the clothes that he wore. I saw somebody talk about the bell bottoms that he had on.
That was one thing that I was going to bring up. Is like I was almost disappointed. Some of the younger folks were spending more time talking about whether his bell bottoms was too feminine rather than the content of his message.
Right, but I saw somebody was talking about, the origin of bell bottom and how the bell bottoms were a symbol of rebellion as well for a certain, again, it was a number of different things. I've seen and heard a lot of commentary, on that. Like I said, I found it to be interesting that some people that are really not into hip hop or Kendrick had, a lot of deep commentaries. Like I said, I posted on my phone. It's just funny to see, people all these deep commentaries on a 14-minute rap show. You know what I'm saying? When, there's a number of different things going on, and if you really want to explore some of those the reasons why, it's all right there. I really love how he had SZA on there as well, singing their song. And I was talking to a sister about SZA. I was like, man, as sexy as she was, she didn't show no parts of her flesh at all.
Didn't have to do
at
anything.
all. And yet it was extremely, sexy performance, a great performance. And, so again, it's like.
Sexy is not, just overt, blah.
Right, yeah.
Imagination.
Right, exactly. And I think, some women know that, like, if you look at women that are Muslim that, have, everything covered except their face. They still,
eyes,
when some with just the eyes, right? Yeah. So I think it was a number of different things. And I think there were a few songs that people wanted him to do. Like for me, I was hoping that he was going to end it with I'm fucked up and you fucked up, but if God got us, then we gonna be all right.
I don't think that would have been allowed on the.
No. He would have had to edit.
He did a great job of not even.
He would have had to edit himself, but I because of the way that America is right now. I mean, obviously he wouldn't have said the profanity, but we are gonna be all right. You know what I'm saying? And that's the message. But I ended up finding out why he didn't do that song. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a number of songs. Like he only did 3 songs from the TDE era,
right?
Because he doesn't own the rights to those songs,
right?
So again, like even
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, even the way he approached it, most of the songs he did are off his new album because that's his new album. And
I love
of course,
the new album. Yeah,
you always want to promote what's current right now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We may love the hits, but business-wise, you want to take care of what's going on right now.
Now, which
I want to ask you guys. Let me jump in real quick, Imhotep. I want to ask you guys. I'm on a thread, and on this thread, the subject was thrown out about Kendrick's new album.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it was split down the thread. Deuce, BC, they loved the album. There was other people like C4, and maybe y'all don't know who C4 is, but and his brother Beefy, they hated the album. And I'm like, okay, I need to listen to this album.
How old are they?
C4 is 40. Deuce is 38.
Deuce is 38.
They all are older. I mean, they're all older. Oh, here we go again.
Uh-oh, they got you again. You said something. You said older. I don't know if that's a bad word or something. They got you though.
Yeah, boy. The MAGA folks, boy, they hacking my computer.
So for the ones that didn't like it, did they say what they didn't like about it?
Right. One of the main things that they said, at least they were honest. They were saying, I don't like West Coast rap. And it was West Coast. Okay. And so, I mean, listen, I don't agree with that. I think good music is good music.
Right.
Because
he's West Coast, but I don't really associate that totally. He represents the West Coast hard. But I think it's just great, as you say, great music because out of West Coast, and what I think of is more G-Funk, back in the. That was the attitude of it that I think.
See, that was back in the day. But if you listen to the GNX album, it's heavily influenced West Coast sound for sure. And again, that's very intentional. You know what I'm saying? But to me, while I'm obviously Big East, for life and whatnot. As Judy just said, if it's good music, then I'm gonna like it regardless of where it's from. You know what I'm saying? Right. I think a number of times we want to box people into what we want. Whereas I think that's one thing I love about real hip hop artists is that they're not too much concerned about doing what's already been done. They constantly put your new better. If you listen to Kendrick's albums, all of his albums sound different. None of his albums
That's what I
sound
was
the
gonna
same.
say. He doesn't sound like the same guy that was filling up a
Nah.
pool of liquor and diving
Yeah,
in.
definitely not. All his albums sound the same. But again, isn't that what we want? I know that's what I want as an
As an
artist.
artist,
I
right?
see
Evolution,
artists to see
progression.
them grow, and
Right.
then we as an audience, we get an opportunity to grow with them, or we can stay where we are. Just like when somebody asked Jay-Z something about his, doing music like he did in the '90s, he was like, "You can always go back and listen to them albums." You know what I'm saying? So I'm
Hey,
moving forward. You go back and listen to that
Right,
if you
right.
want.
You
I
want to go
still love,
backwards. You
I
can be
still love
Lot's
reason,
wife, but I'm moving ahead. I'm moving
I still
forward.
Right,
love
right.
reasonable doubt, for no doubt.
Yeah, which is still my favorite Jay-Z album.
Right, no doubt.
Still
Uh,
my favorite album.
now, what do you think was the main message of Kendrick? If you had to summarize it into, crystallize it down to a message, what do you think he wanted people to take away from the performance? Could have been more than one, but what do you think was
Yeah.
the main message?
Go ahead, Judy. I'll jump in after you.
Well, listen, the only thing that comes to mind is something that was said about KRS. That man thinks very deeply. I mean, his thoughts, and Server was just breaking down some of the concepts and everything that, was being revealed. And, um, the mind to put all of that together,
Hmm.
to make those statements, not just lyrically, but visually,
Hmm.
performance. I think what I walked away from it with was he was provoking thought. He
Definitely.
was making people think, not just taking the status quo, thinking outside of the box. Don't let someone place you in a box. Basically say there is no box.
Right.
I'm going to be unboxed. I'm going to live my life unboxed. That's what I walked away with.
But what was the main thoughts that you think he wanted you to, or was trying to seed, or how did you, message wise that they got him again? See, I don't know, man. Serve him.
Illuminati. What's your mind, soul, and your body?
Mhm.
I don't know why it's doing that. I have no idea. But but I mean, the one thought was there was a multitude of thoughts. But once again, I'll just go back to provoking thought. What you get out of this is what you get out of it. Because he was saying so many different things. For me
Mhm.
to say any one thought, I can't, zoom in on one thought.
I
But
think the PlayStation thing was Game Boy was
yeah,
a big indicator where he was going in terms of about this game that we're playing, and
this game of
that sort
life.
of that right, that game of life and that game of getting through this racist society, or this game that we're
Yeah,
playing right now. How do we survive this type thing?
yeah. I think one of the things that Kendrick wanted to do, most certainly, I definitely agree with Jehudi. He was definitely provoking thought. I think he was touching people, provoking thought, and transforming lives. You know what I'm
Transforming
saying?
lives. Yeah.
For sure.
He owes
But I
us some
think one of
royalties.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. I think one of the things that I believe he wanted to get is that, he takes his craft seriously. You know what I'm saying? He understands his position. He understands that he has the power to touch people, provoke thought, and transform lives. And he is unapologetic in doing that. He's fearless in doing that. Like I said, when you look at that performance, there was when SZA did the Stars at Night, and when you look up and the way that the lamp post was, and the different the brothers up on the lamp post. It was
Right.
kind of looking up that. So it was so many different things. I tell people, Kendrick does think very deeply, for sure, for sure. But I think at that same time, he wanted to establish that he's running rap right now. It's just like he's at the top of the hill. And he just won 5 Grammys. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
Then he turned
Right.
around and do the
Right.
Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
that was almost like a victory lap.
And,
Nod your
and
neck.
I will say this, like I said, knew who he was, couldn't list 5 songs if you put a gun to my head. However, he made me go and start listening to his music,
Exactly.
Hmm.
you know,
Provoking that thought.
provoking thought. And what a great platform, for anyone. There's some of the people that were complaining about not understanding him. I guarantee you, some of them went on Spotify, went on YouTube, went on, Apple Music and started playing his music. I guarantee.
I guarantee a lot of them
And
didn't
what's
know.
really dope now is that we're in an era where you can pull down lyrics too. So you don't have to
Right.
just gotta figure it out. You can
Exactly.
lyrics, which will probably make you, Kendrick is a Pulitzer Prize winning rap artist.
Indeed.
You want a Pulitzer Prize for his album, damn. Pulitzer Prize. So again, for the people that talk whatever they talk, you obviously don't know who this man is. You know what I'm saying? But I try to tell people, it's like
they do now.
to win a Pulitzer Prize for anybody is a high esteem, but to be the first rapper ever, that's.
But let me ask this question, and of both of you, but directly at Minister Server, because he came and it was so huge and so, as Stan Imhotep said, so controversial. Do you think we'll see another hip hop performance on the Super Bowl halftime?
Yeah, I mean, because that's Jay-Z. That was a compromise that Jay-Z got when he sold out Colin Kaepernick. Don't get me started. But yeah, I think we'll see some. I think it'll probably be somebody a bit more mainstream, as it were. You know what I'm saying? Like you.
All right. So when you say that, like who do you think would be acceptable?
That's a great question. I would say right now, Doechii. No, but I don't know, man, because again, the one thing about corporations is that the bottom line is for them to get the best bang. And depending on the
bottom
feedback,
line is the bottom line.
Yeah. And because, as much stuff as people talk and as much as people talking about they weren't going to watch it, it was the number one all-time Super Bowl of all the Super Bowls. I'm talking about Michael Jackson, Prince, Madonna, the all-time. I mean, just above Michael Jackson. So they would be foolish not to have some rappers on again. You know what I'm saying? Now,
if you're only concerned about numbers, then
exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So because at the end of the day, they don't care whether people like it or not. They care if 135 million people tuned in.
Right. Now, for me, it was very reminiscent of 1968, John Carlos and Tommy Smith. Exactly. In terms of the stage, the audience, and then the shock and surprise of these people who stood there for something that was bigger than the moment. Yeah, I just won a gold medal, but so what? I got a silver medal. So what? There's something that's bigger that's happening in this world that we need to pay attention to. So I was very much reminded of that moment. And another thing that sort of made it even more, I guess, reflective of that was when we didn't even see it on TV, but when the guy came out with the Palestinian and Sudan flag. So do you think that was like the Janet Jackson, Justin Timberlake wardrobe malfunction, unofficial, but officially a part of it? How do you see that?
Yeah, the brother named Zul Katran, Muslim brother. I saw him on an interview on Al Jazeera and was talking about that. And he said that when he saw the position that he was going to be in for the show, during the rehearsal and whatnot, being a Muslim, he was like, Allah tells us that, do all that you can to fight against injustice. You know what I'm saying? If you can't do it with your hands, do it with your mouth, do some type. So he's like, he wanted to take advantage of that. And what's really dope about it, if you watch it, when he pulled it out and was going around, and then the person tried to come behind him, and he jumped down off the car, and he got down and was still running around, and then they ended up tackling him. So all that, has added to that. And I was so happy to see that because, again, I think a number of times, we're in serious times right now. So while we can enjoy the football game and all that, that just added extra to it. I'm sure that really,
absolutely,
that's the thing that probably really pissed off the MAGA folks more than anything else. Because again, when Kendrick said 40 acres in a mule, this is bigger than music.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So there was a number of different things, and therefore, like that. That's why they say Trump left in the middle of the performance of whatever, which I don't know what he left in the middle, but my thing is, I'm sure he was turning beet red
I'm
up
sure.
there, hearing that
I'd love to have been got a bird's eye view of that.
because see again, it's like for the folks that said that they couldn't understand what he was saying, why you mad, bro? If you couldn't understand what he was saying, what you mad at? Are you
A
mad
lot
at
of
just
rock songs that I can't understand the lyrics to,
come on,
but I
man?
rock
Are you
along
mad
with
at
it.
just seeing the black people? And again, I think Samuel Jackson's character, the way that Kendrick even had him in that, because of
Right,
course, we remember him from Django playing Steven.
right.
You know what I'm saying? He played that role too well.
Oh yeah. Who's in on the
Whatnot. You know
bag?
what I'm saying? Yeah, so, I think it was a number of different things. I think that for me, though, I hope that it does inspire some young artists to be more political because that's the one thing that I talk about often. That we've got some great artists, and even someone like Kendrick and J. Cole, and others that may make political statements. But we come from an era where there was actually political rap groups where there were a
Right,
number of people that were overtly
right,
political. And for us to see, like, I don't know anyone. I asked that question. I only know a couple of people on the underground that are overtly political, but none in the mainstream. Like, there's a brother named Marcel P. Black. Big up to Marcel P. Black out of Oklahoma, who is overtly political and conscious and pro-black. You know what I'm saying? Which is again, that's rare to see that nowadays. So, big up to the whole presentation of it from the beginning to end. I'm even ending off with turn the TV off. That was the
right,
last song he did.
right.
You know what I'm saying? So it was almost like I know y'all just came to see the halftime. Now y'all cut the TV off now.
Game
And
over.
then, I mean, the game really was over.
Right,
Literally,
right, exactly. It was over.
yeah. So it was definitely one of those things that people will talk about for a long time. And I hope the brother that stood up with the Sudan Gaza flag or Zul. I hope that those conversations go because that's some serious
Absolutely, especially
situations
with
that we could,
they're trying to
and that's
make
what
Gaza development.
yeah, man. I mean, some of the things this guy is saying, and we all know, those of us that are older, we know that Trump would just say anything. Like
Anything.
he's not a serious person at all. You know
Mm-mm.
what I'm saying? But he does have a lot of evil people around him.
But as
But
Kamala said, he's not a serious person, but there's serious conditions
there you
tied to
go.
what he's saying.
Oh yeah, oh
You
yeah,
know,
Causing some serious
he's
trouble
not serious, but the results of what he's saying
and
can
some
have
serious
a
trouble.
riveting effect. Yeah, I mean,
yeah. I definitely agree with that.
So, was there any particular song which track do you think delivered his message hardest? Which track?
Um, they're not like us, not like us. I think that song, and then I think even the whole build up, the way he was kind of teasing whether he was
Right.
going to do it or not. They came up with
Right. Because
something,
they
and
talk
then
about suit. There was an actual suit that's
right, and it still is, yeah. But
right.
again, Drake is just kind of play. I'm really surprised that Drake is really playing and stuff like that. But I'm not surprised on the other hand because it for me affirms what I believe about Drake from the door, that he's a great Canadian actor that plays a rapper.
Hmm.
And he's not serious about the culture at all, which is why if you go back to his discography with all the number ones that he have, he's a pop artist. So don't get me. Remember last year when they asked Most Def was Drake hip hop, and he was like, no, he was like, Drake is more pop.
Hmm.
And my thing is, people got mad and Drake got mad, but Drake was chasing Michael Jackson for the most singles and pop. So
Right.
that's pop
Right.
music. And again, pop music, that's not a diss to say that you're making
Right.
pop music.
No, I
If
love
you
pop music.
right, if you and if that's your aim to make pop music, Drake is very successful at what he does. My whole
Right.
thing is with Drake is that he started trying to believe the hype of the character that he was playing.
Right.
He was on some CB4 shit. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? For those that don't know, CB4,
Right.
Reverend
Right.
Pep. You know what I'm saying? But there was a clip that was playing where Lil Wayne was saying, he loved, the Drake that's melodic and singing. Don't try to be a gangster. This was way
Right.
back. And
Right.
that's exactly what Drake ended up trying to do.
Right.
So I think he was, thugged out, whatever. And then, like, even the way that he, thought that, I don't know what he thought about K. Dot as far as the band. I don't
Well,
know what.
it's interesting though, but he, in many ways, he helped to put K. Dot on.
He did. Right. When
So that's
K-Dot
why
first
I'm
came on.
wondering if the beef is actually real with Kendrick. Is there something that's actually started it that was the catalyst for it, or was
I
it
think I
just
think
is
if
it
you go
a
back to the
marketing thing, just to,
well,
you know?
I think it's a combination of things. You know what I'm saying? But I think if you go back to that control verse,
Hmm.
when Kendrick got the song "Control," and
Right,
that's when he called out everybody.
right.
You saying, naming names of the whole nine. I think, again,
But even
sometimes
after that, he and Drake was cool because he was like, Drake was like, he just.
right. So again, when you get people around you that start trying to gas you up, and mind you, Kendrick hasn't put out as much product as Drake. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So it's the type of thing where people are always trying to say, well, who's the number one rapper, blah, 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 type of thing. And I think Drake just got a little bit full of himself. And, also from, behind the curtain, there's been a lot of controversial things about Drake, his people in the whole nine, and the way, and what's really interesting about him suing the label now, because what he's suing the label for, people have been accusing him of years, for
Right,
years. You know what I'm saying? Like they have an undue influence to make him
right.
be
You're shutting
a
down other
pop
people. Right,
artist, right? You know what
right.
I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm with Stan. I mean, Imhotep on this. I'm not going to say that it's all staged. I really think that lawsuit and all of that was just to keep Drake's name in the public eye as a
That was a
and
terrible way. That was
But
a
that's
right.
not
terrible
the
way
right
of
way
hip
you want
hop.
to be in
I know,
public.
you know what? They
Terrible.
said as long as you have them talking, they're talking.
But see, again, that's why Drake is pop and not
Pop.
hip hop. What you
Exactly.
just
Right.
said.
That's
I was gonna say
exactly what
that's
I'm
more
saying.
conventional
Because see,
wisdom, but not hip hop wisdom.
right,
Right.
exactly.
Right.
Because
No,
see,
no. And I think that ties in to his pop mindset.
right,
As long as I got them talking, you know what I'm saying?
right.
And that's what he was focused on, in my opinion. That to me.
Well, see, to me, it's just like if you try to be a battle rapper in hip hop, then you better be game tight and game ready. Now, Drake would have been
Right.
better off just taking the L, moving on. Now, Kendrick been dragging him for almost a year. That not like us. That's been around almost a year. I remember in the spring saying,
Right.
"Wow, Drake will have a hard summer," and now we almost in spring again.
Right. Now
And he just won 5 Grammys for that one song.
exactly. You know who the smartest person of all was.
J. Cole.
J.
There you
Cole,
go.
man. And you know what? And even in that, when J. Cole dropped out, people were criticizing him, and I was applauding him because he was being true to himself. It was like, you know
Right.
what? This ain't even me.
But I
I
don't
got
even.
nothing to
I
do with
like the
this.
guy. I like the dude. So-
As opposed to, there's been some subliminal diss between Drake and Kendrick for years. Like I said, if you go down a rabbit hole, there's a guy on YouTube named Justin Hunt. He does a show called TCM, The Company Man, and
Mhm.
Justin
Yeah,
Hunt
yeah.
breaks down a lot.
Uh-huh.
FD Signifier breaks down a lot. As far as just the whole. In fact, he did a whole like 3 hour thing on like Kendrick. So some people do deep dives because hip hop now can be dissected in a number of different ways, and it's all the way that people are looking at it. But Drake and Kendrick, but when Kendrick was like, "I hate the way that you walk, I hate the way that you talk," you know what I'm saying? When he said in the song "Euphoria," which was
Mhm.
the dopest diss. I mean, not Like Us is a good song, but structure wise, it's not as dope as Euphoria. Euphoria, that's when Kendrick, you know, surgically dissects him, like crushes him, in that. But I think a number of times when you look at an artist that is about the culture, and because again, they are on the same label. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, on the same distribution label. So part of it
Universal.
is most certainly,
Right.
industry driven, controversial, things of that nature. But also part of it is that if you go back, Kendrick has chosen, even though he's with the corporation, he's chosen to rep the culture.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? That's why he has songs like DNA and Be Humble and all different type of stuff.
Now,
Being
one of
true
my
to
my favorite ones on the album that probably is not going to get a lot of commercial play is Reincarnation.
Reincarnation. I love that as well. That's where he did the kind of the Tupac flow type
Right.
of thing on that. Yeah.
But even just the message of it, going back
Right.
that reincarnation of those
All
artists
those stories that he told.
like a Billie Holiday and all those,
Yeah.
how that spirit, that creative spirit
Right. You
incarnated.
know, when I heard that, it kind of made me think about the KRS-One song "All Year," where he said, "This is not the first time I came to the planet, but every
Exactly.
time I come, I came as ISIS, and run down."
Exactly. Exactly.
Spiritually, we stay connected in that, and that's again for Kendrick to even make a song like "Reincarnated."
Right.
Who else is even making music like that on the mainstream?
Exactly.
Like now on the underground and the independent, there's a lot of stuff that's
Right.
going on. But
Right.
very rarely does it break into that mainstream.
Right. And that's the thing that the mainstream crossover thing, because, you got Cyrock and you got, all this, there's a whole bunch of folks that never get any real
Big up
shine.
the Rhapsody. Big up the Rhapsody who just won her
Rhapsody
first
out of
Grammy.
North Carolina. Yep, exactly. So
Mm-hmm.
you get they're there, but that platform, that stage with all eyes on me, that is that unusual position that he was in, and a lot of people would have folded under that and would have dumbed it down, toned it down. So,
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
applaud his courage for doing that. Now, the other thing that people really were applauded was seeing Serena out there crip walking. Now she did it just a little bit when she got her gold at Wimbledon, but then she was full sea walking out there on this one, and which
That
was an interesting thing also because SZA and Serena were both Drake exes. I remember I was shooting a Kodak commercial with Drake, and Serena actually showed up on set. So
mm,
kind of interesting. 14 years later, that they've been broke. She's had kids and all that, but she still got some satisfaction at coming back at him. So some shading him, throwing a little extra shade on
and,
it.
and you know what? And she was saying, really, that had nothing to do with Drake. She said she only did it because Kendrick asked her to.
Did it for the
said,
cause.
said- she was like, she ain't think about Drake. She was like, that had nothing to do with Kendrick. That's a homework from Compton. He asked her to do it. Why was she not doing it? Of course, knowing that was going to have some effect, but that wasn't her mindset. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Like,
right, right,
what's his name? Stephen A. tried to just go off the cliff.
right.
He
He said
just,
he would divorce her, whatever he said.
man, like she would marry his punk ass. But yeah, that's another thing with his punk ass. But yeah.
So that was interesting.
I think though, what was really interesting though is that to have, they said, to have SZA and Serena on there. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? And
right,
I saw somebody talking about the whole Serena, at the Olympics and at Wimbledon and whatnot. When she was, well, I think it was at the Olympics. She actually did Seawalk and whatnot, and she was talking about how she would have been fine for doing something like that. And it's
right,
so funny, just even something like that, like in any time we have a certain type of cultural expression, it kind of makes them feel the way. Anytime it's not approved by them,
right.
you know what I'm saying? Like
But
they got to
the
accept those.
interesting thing is going to happen 20 years from now. That moment's going to be celebrated,
Of course,
just
of
like with
course,
John Carlos and Tommy Smith.
that's what John Carlos said. Yeah, yeah. In fact, I had the pleasure of meeting them last year when I was in Selma for the Bloody Sunday commemoration, and
Okay.
I was honored just to meet them. I got a couple of pictures in the whole nine, and they
Wow.
said when you look back at that moment, the level of courage that it took to do that, for sure. Whereas while Kendrick, he wasn't under any kind of threat. So I know you said that earlier. It's kind of similar only in the symbolism, not in the
Right,
actual act itself,
right,
because they face, and again, like they talk about, John Carlos was talking about he ended up getting a divorce and the whole nine.
right.
That wrecked
Ruined
so
his
much
life. Right.
in his life. Yeah, yeah. So,
So,
but
but
I'm, I'm
they're safe after a while. Then they'll put up statues of him.
and
Everything.
then they come back
Malcolm.
around. Right, right,
Same thing with
exactly,
Malcolm.
exactly. Exactly, and that's the thing that history bears witness that if you're on the right side of history eventually catches up with you, which is
Exactly.
why, those of us that do the work that we do, particularly us as ministers, we know that we're not doing the work for right now. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like I don't, as I tell people, for me, I have no idea what's going to be said when I make my transition, but I make sure that my children and my grandchildren know the works and the sacrifice I make for them. Whatever the outside world says, fine. But at the end of the day, all of us have direct legacies and our children and whatnot, and that's what the work really is. So anybody that can that we can, in any way touch those people, provoke that thought and transform them lives, and that's beyond the space and time.
Absolutely. And then I think I'll sort of segue out sort of on that sentiment speaking about the youth and the progeny, do you think the young people, these Gen X, do you think they actually got it? The Gen Z,
I was gonna
do
say
you think
not
they
Gen X,
received it?
yeah. Yeah, I think, based on what I've been hearing for sure, because see, like, when I talk to young people, or at least the young people that I know, they are seeking the light. That's why, I'm accepted into their areas. I tell young people, the reason why young people love me, because I love them first. You see what I'm saying? I love them first, like, and
Kind of like
because
something
it's
Jesus said,
genuine,
right?
right? And because it's genuine, and like, people want to know that you care before they care what you know. Young people, particularly.
Mm-hmm.
So for sure, and mind you, whereas Kendrick's young to us, but he's an old head
Right.
to
That was my point. Right. Yeah.
them.
But
Yeah,
now you said what generation?
Gen Z, the
What
Gen
is that
Z,
age
and
group?
that's
the
like,
like
uh,
what teens
yeah,
and and
Okay,
I would say like,
my youngest 25 is too old for that.
no. I would say like, from 98 to like I think 2010, something like that. Of
Oh,
course, the dates go back and forth,
right.
but that
well, I was in the house, and that's what I'm sorry, sir, but I was in the house with that generation
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
at BJ's birthday party
That
celebration.
DJ would be right.
Right, they were going hysterical.
oh
I
yeah,
got it on video, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean the energy was. I mean, to be exact,
Oh, the guy. Let me
I
give you.
I enjoyed the show so much more because I witnessed it with them.
right,
Okay.
That energy, their energy, their
Mm-hmm.
screaming just, it brought me into that performance. It
Right.
was, so
and
yes,
they probably
they
do it
felt
word for word too.
it. Every word, every lyric,
Mm-hmm.
every
That's
lyric.
awesome. So there is hope.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
man.
no. The level of awareness and consciousness, and I'll just put it this way, of the people that I'm around, the young people that
Hmm.
I'm around.
Hmm.
It is, I wasn't thinking that deeply when I was that age. Okay. They remind me of little Martin Luther King's, the people that I'm around with their thoughts and the way they want them to see a change and they want to be a part of the change and they want to be a voice of the change. I'm very impressed.
Awesome.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I said I'm blessed to know young people around the world, and they are ready. They are looking for us again. I talk about, generally speaking, that 1960 to 1980 born generation, that hip hop was given to us directly. We don't know about the elements, but it was given to us directly. So I made a post last week and said, if those of us that are 45 and older, if we don't still love hip hop beyond entertainment, then our children will never love it. They just
Mm,
won't, because the corporations have made it where, rap music is hip hop to them, whereas we know rap is just one of the elements in that. So again, if we don't break it down for them, then the only version of hip hop that they get is what the corporations tell them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So as I tell people, it's not about trying to make them, be old school or nothing like that. So, and I use my children as an example. I've never kept them from listening to their music.
Right.
But the culture is what they got indoctrinated with. The
and
culture. So even being indoctrinated with the culture, it's allowed them to make better choices in music.
I,
Yeah.
I will say this, Server, and you can understand this. Big ups to you. Was it last summer where you had the thing at the library
Yeah.
and Deja came with me?
Yeah.
Remember?
In fact, just to put that out there, we just started again. I did one
That was it last
last
Saturday.
weekend. We just
Okay,
started again.
okay, all right. There
But
it
we're
is.
talking about classic rap videos and convos for those that may want to know.
That was awesome. But it was awesome for me, but it was awesome for her.
Right.
Right.
You were reminiscing, and she was exposed to
Right. And
something.
she was
Right.
learning and she was opening up. And, she knew that you were hip hop, but I don't know that she knew that you were hip hop. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you gained even more cred with her for your knowledge and what you opened her up to. So they're ready to hear it.
Awesome.
Definitely ready.
Awesome.
Definitely ready. And with that being said, one of the things that I tell, my peer group, again, that 45 and older, don't look for ways to try to beat your youth down with it. Just allow, have real conversations with them. Like if you're genuinely concerned, like we talk about hip hop in 10 elements. So
Right.
you don't have to have a rap conversation. Like I tell people, if you're in the business, you understand street entrepreneurialism, the way that we uniquely formulate our businesses, that's hip hop. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? And we talk about fashion, we talk about health and wellness, all those things for us are hip hop. So again, particularly with the older crowd, because when I talk to a lot of my peers, a lot of them feel away because of the way that mainstream rap music sounds.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like they're
They've
not.
forgotten the fact that, that it was the same effect that early hip hop was having on that generation before them,
Hey,
because
listen, I know people in every
always
occupation, right?
it's always with the youth.
It's
All
always with the
the
youth.
movements have been with the youth. The summer of 66 when they coming down the Freedom Riders, it was the youth.
Mm-hmm.
The Soweto uprising,
Yeah.
it was the youth.
When we
76
were going
Unrest,
through
yeah.
the Black Lives Matters, that was
Youth,
the youth.
because
Always
they
We
good.
saw
Like you
our
just
youth
said.
leading us in that.
because
You said
we always
it's
get, as
always
you
the
get
youth. Yeah.
older, you got too much to lose. You get settled, you get conservative. They are the ones who are idealistic, and they're the ones who can lead us forward if we allow them to, express themselves in the way that they choose to.
Well, they say old men for counsel, young men for war.
That's
You know what
it.
I'm saying? Which is
Mhm.
why I tell people, you know, I'm not trying to be like the young people. I already did all that. I'm an old man. I'm here for counsel. I'm here for advice and guidance, and give you some principles. You know what I'm saying, that you can live by. You can adapt to your from the principle to the Hip Hop Declaration of Peace. The true principles. My life is based on principles. I
Right.
tell people I'm not a perfect man, but I'm a principled man, and I
That's
take
it.
pride in that. You know.
Indeed. Indeed. And we'll close out on that. And I thank you, brothers, for joining once again for the Trinity of Truth.
Tree.
I just want to end with what Kendrick said. What did he say? Right time, wrong guy. Yo, he laid it out.
No,
He
he's the
laid it
right.
out.
He was the right time, right guy.
Right,
He definitely
exactly.
was. Definitely was.
He was, but I know what he was saying.
Oh
I
yeah.
got
Oh
you.
yeah. Oh,
Y'all
You
didn't
ain't
know
know
definitely
what
this.
you
This
were
is
did.
what
getting
you
when
get.
you right. Exactly. You ain't know what you
That's
were
what.
getting.
That's why old Donnie got up and left. He knew what he was talking about too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah.
And also big up, big up, big up. Even though you said he acted too well in Django, but big up to Samuel L. Jackson
Oh yeah. And big
and
up to
his role
Samuel, man. Yeah.
on the Super Bowl. I mean, it just put it all together for me. It really pulled it all together.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely. It was like I said, for it to be the highest rated one, it was well worth it. Particularly for those of us that are black folks, that are political, that are that can see how art can be used to touch people,
Voice.
provoke thought, and
Mhm.
transform
Long
lives.
And as
lives.
a big Jackson fan, the two biggest ones had a Jackson in it. Two biggest Super Bowl
Oh,
halftime performers,
right.
Michael and Samuel L. Jackson.
Okay.
Okay.
Now the other thing, just a quick thing about the game itself, which sucked. It was one-sided, but it was two black quarterbacks in it. One more obviously black than the other. I'm glad that the very obviously black one won it, and also the big ups he gave to the sisters,
Yeah.
and the support that they gave him. That was
And
great.
he has a sister
And
as an agent.
is he a frat brother of yours too? I thought so.
Of course. And also on that same end, again, Patrick Mahomes is obviously a black man as well, but
Yes,
culturally
indeed.
speaking, is
Yes,
he a
indeed.
black man? You see what I'm saying? You're talking about black is mine. Black is not.
Right.
None of us are
Skin tone,
black.
right,
This is brown skin.
right.
Okay,
Exactly.
so
Whole black
black
and
is
white is a
mine.
construct. We know that.
Right, exactly. So big up to the Eagles. I'm a lifelong diehard Vikings fan, but my mom was a diehard Eagles fan. So I was riding
Vikings had a
along
great year.
with my mom. We did, but we ain't win no Super Bowl ever still. But so another conversation.
Oh, yeah, they
Uh,
go
but um,
playing
but
Tarkington.
Yeah, man. But we lost then too. But
Hey,
but
Yehudi, now, as Cowboy fans, we have to keep our head down. You got a new coach, baby. We'll see. But they got to get rid of the owner.
that's what it is right there, man.
Yeah,
But it was a
yeah,
great game,
yeah.
man. Big up to the Eagles defense, though. That's what I was
Oh my
really
God.
impressed with the
Defense was the
defense, man. That
MVP.
defense was bananas, man. I mean,
They had him on
That
skates.
line was
the whole
Mahomes.
night. I mean, from the beginning, man, that defense was awesome,
that
man. I mean, I
line
And
know we
was
had a good
incredible.
defense, but
the
that
kid that did the diving interception,
Right.
Yes.
The other
rookie.
one, that was a
Rookie,
bad
yeah.
throw. That
Right.
diving
Yeah,
interception,
yeah.
that was just like, yo, we here to play. We ain't here
Right.
messing around with you cats.
Right.
What you call got sacked was six times, something like that. Mahomes got sacked like six
It was
times. Like
crazy.
the
It was
defense was
crazy.
awesome, man. I mean, awesome. So I mean, even the little points that they let him get, I think that was more of a Vegas bet odds. You know
Right,
what I'm saying?
right,
Like,
right.
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, they kind of let them get some points, whatever, you know, to do the spread or whatever. But
At that point, it
big
was a
up to the
wrap.
Eagles, man. Big up to the bruh,
Brotherly love.
Jalen
I can
Hurts.
never say big up to the Eagles as a diehard Dallas Cowboy fan, but you know,
Hey,
hey.
Philadelphia, brotherly love.
The
All my
brotherly love.
Philadelphia family that may watch this,
I was just going back to the Bible one, Philadelphia. That's
oh,
brotherly.
okay.
That's what it
Philios,
says.
Philios.
All right.
All right, fellas.
Yes,
Until next
sir.
time. Live
Peace,
long
buddy.
and
Peace.
prosper.
Peace.
Peace.
Turn this TV off, turn this TV off. Turn this TV off, turn this TV off. Turn this TV off, turn this.